Hi everyone, my name is Katherine Gonzales and I'm going to be speaking to you about serving immigrant children in a public library. This is an important and relevant topic for individuals in the information and library sciences field. According to the Migration Policy Institute, there were 1,096,611 people who immigrated to the United States in 2018. It is also estimated that 1,092,000 children between the ages of 3 and 17 enrolled in school in the U.S. in 2016. For many immigrant children and their families, this time of transition can be filled with anxiety and fear. There are many obstacles that immigrant children and their families must face. Libraries have a long history of serving all members of society as best as they can. According to the American Library Association's Bill of Rights, and I quote, "A person's right to use a library should not be denied or abridged because of origin, age, background, or views, and all people, regardless of origin, age, background, or views, possesses a right to privacy and confidentiality in their library use." This means everyone, including children who have come to the U.S. from other countries, have a right to use the public library and its resources without fear. Public libraries can be a place of welcome during an otherwise stressful times. As librarians, there is much we can do to serve the immigrant children and their families in our communities. One of the most important ways we can do this is by getting to know the members of the community we serve. This will help us to make informed decisions in the future in a number of essential areas. For example, this will help us to learn if there are languages other than English spoken in the community. Librarians can use this information when making decisions about collection, development, and providing informational materials for the community. In addition, after getting to know the community, there are some suggested practices we can implement in our library. According to a report from the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services called Library Services for Immigrants, a report on current practices published in 2007, it was recommended that libraries should focus on some key components. These include building partnerships with the community, building a diverse and inclusive collection, creating inclusive programming, performing outreach, and providing information services. Creating partnerships with outside organizations and community groups can help put the library in contact with immigrant children and their families. Reaching out to leaders of local community organizations with ties to immigrant groups in the community is a great way to make those connections. This could also include making contact with local schools and other after-school care services for children. In an article I found while doing research, a library worked with an English as a second language teacher from the local high school to introduce immigrant teens to the library and its resources. The program had some excellent results. The teens became active participants in library activities and found the library to be a place of empowerment. Some immigrant families may not use the library out of fear, but creating these partnerships with community groups may alleviate these fears and encourage a sense of confidence in the library as immigrant children and their families get to learn about the library. In addition, it is important to see what immigrant children and their families feel are necessary and would be most helpful to them in the library. As librarians, we should develop collections that meet the needs of our community. When working with immigrant children and their families, this might mean having books and resources in a variety of languages, or having books that have characters that reflect the diversity of the community. Books in the collection should celebrate a child's heritage and culture. Libraries may also want to include books and other resources on English language learning. Programs should be of interest and of use to immigrant children. For teens, this may include programs on learning English. There also may be a teen advisory council to encourage teens to feel like they have a voice. Programs about preparing for college or job readiness may be beneficial for teens. Programs to encourage social interaction are also essential for teens. This can include more casual programs like a game night or a craft night, so teens have time to interact and get to know one another. For school-aged children, programs may include book clubs that are primarily in their native language, programs that celebrate their heritage, or author visits from authors of a variety of backgrounds. Programs for the younger ones may include bilingual story times. Also, if you're trying to create programs for immigrant children and don't know where to start, reach out to the community members from other cultures. Ask them to help you develop programming, or you can even ask them if they would like to do their own program. Don't be afraid to take advantage of the connections that you make when you develop those partnerships with external community groups. Outreach is an essential part of what libraries can do to meet the needs of immigrant children and their families. Libraries will again need to work with groups in the community. This is why it is important to create strong, positive partnerships. Going through those organizations can ensure libraries are providing outreach to those in need. Libraries should create and execute a plan based upon the needs of the immigrant families in the community. This may look like providing backpacks with picture books in languages other than English and coloring supplies to children who do not otherwise have access to them. It might mean creating little free libraries with books in a number of other languages outside of immigrant lawyer offices or social service offices. It might mean going into the organizations that the library has built partnerships with and speaking directly with people to make them aware of all the library offerings. Information services is another important part of working with immigrant children. Flyers and pamphlets in languages other than English can be placed throughout the children and teen departments in the library. It might be a good idea to put them in areas where people may not be seen taking them to reduce fear or embarrassment of being seen in taking these flyers or pamphlets. Information included in these flyers or pamphlets may include items such as the naturalization process, know your rights, information on social service offices in the area, family support groups, or library offerings. The information shared will depend on your library and the needs of your community. Also, for information services, children and teens can be given tours of the library. They can be shown how to use the library's resources like public computers, and librarians can provide instruction on information searching. Parents of younger children can be given this instruction. Lastly, we can focus on items related to staff development. Staff should receive cultural competence training. They should be made aware of customs or traditions that are important in other cultures, especially of those represented in your community. This will prevent staff from unintentionally offending a member of the community. The library should make an effort to have a diverse staff reflecting the local community as well. It is helpful to have staff members who are bilingual. Children may feel more comfortable interacting with a librarian or staff member who the child feels will understand them because they look alike or have a shared language. If a library has no bilingual staff, there are many translation services available that the library could take advantage of. As you can see, there is a lot librarians can do in a public library to serve the immigrant children in their community. I hope you can take the information you learned from this PowerPoint and apply it to any settings that you may work in now or in the future. Thank you.